All throughout the month of March, we are celebrating incredible women doing amazing work in our community and beyond in business and a number of different professional sectors that impact Greater West Bloomfield, the state of Michigan, and the entire world. Someone that's helping with that, in particular with the communications side of building incredible businesses and legacies in our community, is Marjon Parham, who is the owner of Masterminds Communications and joins us now on the Splash Live. Marjon, thank you so much for being with us.
Yes, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you on. You focus primarily in the communications sector and have done so very successfully throughout your career. But that's such a wide-ranging professional field. So take us through what you specialize in and how you help other people improve communications in an age where really that's the number one part of their game.
Right. Well, the thing is, first I started out, my undergrad was in engineering, and then I moved into communications. So I like to let people know that because they're so different. But I use what we call transferable skills to go from engineering, which was kind of centered around automotive, into communications. In engineering, you're taught to do things in a methodical, organized way. And I took a lot of those skills, strategy planning and so forth, and being organized and time management into my communications career. And so right now, I am currently the director over at Michigan Liberation, which is a grassroots organization that is working to end and decrease mass incarceration in the state of Michigan. So, talk about something so different than what I started out, like I said, undergrad in automotive. But it has been so rewarding. We have played a major role in helping over hundreds of people get their record expunged here in the state of Michigan. Also, we're working with helping to end cash bail and decrease it in the state of Michigan as well, and working with various elected officials to get that done and so forth. So it's just been absolutely amazing. So I do everything right now as far as public relations, and this all falls under communications, everyone. So public relations, digital work as far as social media. I have people I work with that help me with that as well. And as you know, in 2025, you got to know some sort of AI strategies. And so that's something that we're learning. And, I've been with Michigan Liberation for almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years this year. And I never would imagine I would be in this role and so forth. And then as far as with my business, I help other entrepreneurs and small businesses and nonprofits, with their branding as well.
And I'd imagine with the work that you're doing more presently with Michigan Liberation, that's got to be a tough gig because it's an issue that is so important to so many people who have made mistakes in recent years or many, many years prior in their life when they were younger and didn't maybe make the best decisions in their lives and are trying to start a new path forward. And so communicating that to people that have their own different opinions about those who have been incarcerated, I'd imagine is quite the challenge. So how have you gone about learning that and then communicating the intricacies of a really complicated issue of that kind?
Right. Yeah, good question. Basically, I hate to say it, that saying, knowledge is power. Not when we were doing expungement fair, but before we started doing expungement fair, like you said, we had to promote it. We had to get the word out that we were doing it. And not only that, but what people's rights were as far as educating people on how to pull up their record in the state of Michigan. For example, going to the MyChart website, the Michigan website, and pulling up their record, or going to the courts and getting an official record. Almost looking at your criminal record as your report card from school, knowing exactly what your final results were. You know what I mean? Some people have no clue what's on their record, or if they even have one. I hate to say that, believe it or not. And what we found is that a lot of people really appreciated the open communication. We would tell people when you come to our expungement fair that, even if you're not eligible, learn why and maybe take further steps for that and giving them resources to do that. So that's why I go back to knowledge is power. I never, like I said, imagined that I would be in this role. I tell people this career chose me. I didn't choose it. And that's just, I believe, is part of my calling. And, and it's one of the reasons I've been so successful because I love to help people. And this was before I even thought about engineering. I just love to serve and help people. And so go figure now, years later, I'm helping people using my transferable skills to get things done. Like when we was doing expungement fairs, getting the word out through social media or through the media. It was a time where we were having almost hundreds of people coming to our expungement fair every month to get the record expunged.
And as you're making that impact and you're fulfilling that goal of yours to make a positive impact on people while building your own personal successes, how have you embraced that in a way that does ultimately lead to other people having a massive success like you've been able to have wherever they're looking to go in their life, especially when they're facing a challenge like a not so clean record in their past and looking to turn over a new leaf?
Right. Once again, another good question. I mean, not only with people with records, but people without records. I tell people, I was speaking at U of M last week, and I told a lot of the students, you're in a very crucial time in your life. Do what you love, because it will come back, at you. Like I said, I started off engineering, and people always would say, but I see you in PR, I see you in communications, and look where I am years later. I went back and got my master's back in 2015. So I ended up going back, getting the theory, and then, of course, doing the hands-on. But as far as people with records, what I would tell them was the same thing. Don't let this record hinder you from what it is your calling is. I met hundreds of people while we were going through this expungement process. And then, now Michigan is an automatic expungement state. And we played a vital role in getting that done. And we were there at the in Lansing when they announced it and everything, which was awesome, and we celebrated. But there's still people working to get their record expunged. But I tell them, do what you love. I mean, I met so many people who are entrepreneurs. And that's why we were working hard to help them get their record expunged so they could get grants. And there were people who wanted to go to school, and we were helping so they could apply. And there were people who wanted to just get a better job, higher paying job, or get housing. That's huge. And you got to have a place to stay if you're going to work somewhere. So that's why we went the extra mile, not only to help them get their record expunged, but explain to them not only the process of expungement, but also what does your record really say about you? What are some things you might want to maybe contact additional legal assistance for, and so forth, and know later on down the line, So very, very valuable experience. And, and there's been people come to me and say, Ms. Marjon, I thank you so much. Now it was one lady that through some partners we helped. She's now an accountant at a university locally here.
And that's such a great story too, because you're seeing the art of communications turn into ultimately the science of helping people get out of really tough situations that in some ways may be in their controls, but in many other ways are out of their control because of the laws that are in place, the stereotypes that are in place in our society that have grown over the years. And so it's amazing work that you're doing with Michigan Liberation, and we thank you for that. Ms. Marjon Parham is with us, the owner of Masterminds Communications and the director of Michigan Liberation, on today's edition of The Splash Live, as we recognize Women's History Month and celebrate wildly successful women making an impact right here in the greater West Bloomfield area. And you've been able to both pursue an interest in engineering and pursue a dream in helping people with their communication, with their public relations, with issues that matter in our communities. And so for other women that are building their dream, building their business, they have that idea. What do you wish they knew about the process that you wish you would have known earlier on to help you catapult yourself to where you're at today?
Right. I'll be real honest and frank. Do not chase the money. Chase the passion. Yeah. The money will come, because that's kind of like what I did. I did engineering kind of, it was a safety net. Oh, you'll make great money. And I did. And to believe it or not, I still have another business under engineering. I still do contracting consulting. And it's so funny because and I have another business in communications. So I have Mastermind, and then I have my MNP, which is my initials, engineering. So sometimes people call on me to do certain things in engineering, like audits and so forth. And then I pivot back to communication. So I tell people, follow the passion, because now I'm doing what I love, so it's not work, but I'm getting paid. And that is the the best scenario situation. And I also tell people it'll fall like dominoes, because now that I'm doing my passion, I'm making the money that I never would dream I would make. I'm now able to spend time with my family, my friends. I do things like self-care, take care of myself. I get massages, go on trips. It's all falling into place because I'm living a balanced life, because I'm following my passion and not something else.
You could work hard, you could have a lot of fun, mix the two together. You're going to be very, very successful in whatever you do. Ms. Marjon Parham is with us on the Splash Live today, talking about her successful turn from an engineer into a communications mastermind from right here in the greater West Bloomfield area as we celebrate women of significance in our community who are making an impact each and every day. Ms. Marjon, before we let you go, there's so much we can tell. You are very proud. We can see it. We can hear it in your storytelling of your career journey. But ultimately, when you do call it a career, and you are ultimately going to be 100% of the time just Ms. Marjon Parham and not Ms. Marjon Parham professional, what do you hope is your lasting impact on your community?
Oh my, excellent final question. I am big now on self-care and balance. It used to be at times when I first started in my career as an engineer, I have to admit I was a workaholic. It's like so many women. And not only a workaholic, but then also catering to other people's needs and not meeting my own. It's just like what they say when you get on an airplane, put your mask on first before you try to help everybody else. And before, I was helping everybody else, and meanwhile I wasn't getting any oxygen, any type of life. And so now, I just like I have meetings on my calendar, I have self-care me time. And it's an acronym: mental emotional time, ME. That's where I'll go maybe see my therapist. I see a life coach, and she holds me accountable. And she's located here, like in the West Bloomfield area, Radiant Youth. Shout out to Saritha and her team. I make sure twice a month I see her. Then I go get a massage, at least 60 minutes. And then I go treat myself to dinner. At least those things. So I'm telling you, please put time for yourself. Have a balance. That's one thing I regret. I wish somebody told me, take time for you so you can be a better you to everybody else and your job and your career.
One of the best pieces of advice I ever got was, in your calendar, set appointments with yourself, and those are appointments that you cannot miss. That's the what. You gave us a little bit of the how. Thank you so much, Ms. Marjon, for your time today.
Yes. Thank you.